certainly want to make sure that the smear stops here today. I want to caution the ladies and gentlemen on both sides of the aisle here. We will work with what we know, and we will work to find out what we do not know. And I, for one, and I hope everyone on both sides of the dais, will reject categorically assumptions for which there is not evidence. When I say something goes to the office of the consul of the IRS, that is not to be construed as the office of the president or to the consul himself. It is important that we understand that words matter, nuances matter, and that we not go one step beyond what we know.
Well, that's rather unctuous, isn't it? Welcome back to Harvard. That was Oversight Committee Chairman Republican Darrell Issa of California with some curious words at today's IRS hearing. Issa has been the GOP architect of the narrative that the White House ordered the IRS targeting conservative groups, which some of his Republican colleagues have used to make the more outrageous claim that the White House sent the IRS a Nixonian enemies list. It's even more curious if you saw Issa's op-ed in USA Today, which flat out asked the question, was the targeting of the Tea Party applicants directed from the White House? Well, the irony in Issa's statement today at the hearing was not lost on his colleagues, including Representative Gerry Connolly, a Democrat from Virginia.
It's a terrible thing when the narrative we've got in our heads just doesn't quite work out because the facts don't back them up.
Would the gentleman yield?
I will in a second, Mr. Chairman. But in fact, before I yield, I'd read back a quote from the chairman on national television, because he just assured us that he never linked the president to this. And I read this quote: "This was the targeting of the president's political enemies, effectively, and lies about it during the election year so that it wasn't discovered until afterwards." Now, that's the narrative. And there's no evidence, including from these two witnesses today, that that's true.
Well, the facts of the case so far have not stopped Issa. He announced he is expanding the IRS investigation. Issa says the agency's chief counsel, whom Obama appointed, was part of the group that reviewed complex issues involved in Tea Party applications. We're joined now by the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Representative Elijah Cummings. You know, I keep thinking about that phrase, bang your way out of a paper bag. I mean, how do you get out of this endless morass? This chairman will not stop calling witnesses. He will not ever say it's over. It seems like he's just going to go on and on and on until people forgot there was a beginning or there will ever be an end to this thing.
Well, clearly, Chris, he called 2 witnesses, IRS witnesses today, out of 16 that we've interviewed. And every witness, first panel and second panel, including IG, George, said that there has been no White House involvement. There has been no political motivation involved in these decisions. Chairman Issa had to admit, on the one hand, that there was no political involvement, no White House involvement, but at the same time, he left the door open, basically saying through the USA Today article and some statements that he made during the hearing, that he still blames the president. So, you know, it's sad. We have had 16 interviews so far, Chris, and every single interview, people have said no White House involvement, no political motivation, but yet and still, and by the way, those were Republicans and Democratic members of the IRS, people who work for the IRS. Yeah. He didn't call any Republicans today. He called others, but not the Republicans, who even one Republican out of Washington, IRS employee, a veteran lady, said, look, these allegations that was a political enemies list of the president and we were targeting and all this, she said, is laughable. And so, but yet still he continues to march down that aisle. And I think basically those are the talking points of the Republican Party.
Let's go back to the seat of this hurricane. That was the Inspector General's report.
Yeah.
The Inspector General report, I understand in her testimony, said that he now realizes that there were progressive groups targeted, and he never knew that when he issued his report.
Well, he knew that they were on the bolo, be on the lookout for a form, but he never talked to us about it. And Chris, the interesting thing, he claims that Tea Party folks were treated differently, but he also admitted that he never has investigated what happened to the progressive groups. And he also, Chris, has stood in the way of us getting certain information that IRS wants to give us with regard to this investigation, but he has personally blocked that information from coming to us. And that, the first time, and talking to the folks at IRS, they said they don't even remember a time that an IG actually blocked them from providing information to Congress.
You know what I think is disturbing? That you're a lone voice out there, and you know you're ranking member, it's your role to play, but do you think there's a lot of members of the Democratic caucus who are afraid to get in the defensive mode with regard to the IRS because it's by its nature an unpopular institution?
No, I think members are, I think members want to know the truth. They are learning the truth. They are seeing that there's not one scintilla of evidence with regard to things being, with the president and others. But I think they also know that there are problems within the IRS itself. The IG has already told us that, and that's what we ought to be about, Chris, trying to straighten out those problems.
Okay, thanks so much.
And the president, by the way,